For more, I want to bring in Armine Yalnizyan. She's an economist and the Atkinson Fellow on the Future of Workers, and she joins us live from Ottawa. Armine, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
So the election was dominated by the Canada-U.S. relationship, but affordability is still top of minds for many Canadians. So what stood out to you in this speech on that front?
Well, there was a lot of stuff in there about affordability and balancing budgets. So cut taxes and spend a bit more, but also balance the budget. The key and magic word there was balance the operating budget, because Mr. Carney promises to split up the federal budget between operating and capital expenditures. That's how he's going to do this magic trick. What struck me, Andrew, as not being there, because so much of the Liberal plan was in there, was the promise to fix EI. Currently, about 35% of the people who are unemployed receive any jobless benefits. And if that recession materializes, as almost everybody is predicting, we are not recession ready. That was a big miss for me in this throne speech, which was otherwise basically the platform, the Liberal platform, condensed. That was the biggest eyebrow raiser for me, given what we are facing in the coming months.
Interesting. Okay. Housing is a huge issue for so many Canadians. I want to play a clip from the speech and get your reaction. Have a listen.
The government will make the housing market work better, including by cutting municipal development charges in half for all multi-unit housing. The government will drive supply up to bring housing costs down.
So bringing housing costs down. Do you think that's something the government will be able to follow through on?
100% it can, if it wants to devote resources to building affordable housing in a way that actually reduces the time the time required to create multi-residential housing units, which is what they're talking about. They're talking about creating a brand new industry of prefab, industrial, modular home building that requires less labor and is completely sourced from Canadian parts. So that is totally possible to do, and it would only bring down the cost of housing in affordable, purpose-built rental stock. And that's exactly where the price has to come down.
So much of the speech was also devoted to building up the Canadian economy in the face of the threats and the tariffs from the U.S. and the threats from the U.S., taking down internal trade barriers, speeding up project approval. Did this speech lay out an agenda on that front that the government can actually carry out?
100% it can carry out those particular measures. The internal trade reductions will be on federal restrictions to interprovincial trade. They can do that, and hopefully watch other provinces join on. The line that they used in this throne speech, which they've used in their platform, is that we could save up to $200 billion. Andrew, that number is pulled from a study that was published in 2016 before there was a brand new interprovincial agreement that actually removed a lot of the existing restrictions back then. There's no way we're going to have a $200 billion bump up by removing more restrictions to internal trade. And particularly, we will not be able to offset the loss in international trade with the United States. That will require more international trade deals.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that important fact that it was relying on 2016 numbers. Now, there was also an emphasis on immigration in the speech, saying that while immigration provides dynamism for the economy, the government committed to capping foreign students and temporary foreign workers at less than 5% of the population. What do you make of that policy?
Well, I mean, that's the previous government's policy. Yeah. So there's nothing new there. And bad news for them today. The Bank of Canada yesterday released a study showing that this population, temporary foreign workers and international students, on average get paid about 22% less than the average Canadian worker, Canadian-born worker, or landed immigrant. And that's a bigger gap than it used to be. But here's the surprise part of that story, is that it's the very industries that we want more of: cheap food, food delivered to your door, more Uber and Amazon parcel delivery. All those jobs that people don't want to do if they are Canadian born and educated. And those are the jobs that are going to these people. So we've got a big reckoning to come in terms of cheapness and convenience coming forward for the Canadian consumer.
Where do you think the government should start in terms of all the economic priorities it laid out in the speech?
In the priority that it did not mention. I think they better giddy up on fixing EI, because this recession is going to unfold. It is inevitable. And if you don't fix the automatic stabilizer, the only one we've got, the one that we've had since 1941, and we are now providing less coverage than we did when we introduced it in 1941. If you don't fix that, the recession will be longer and deeper than it otherwise needs to be. More unemployment means lower revenues than otherwise need to be the case, and more businesses failing. Actually, bankruptcies are they're very high for individual businesses, not for corporations, but individual owner-operated businesses are failing at a remarkable rate right now. And you're just going to see more of that unless you do things to stabilize purchasing power and aggregate demand in the economy.
Armine, thank you. Armine Yalnizyan is an economist and the Atkinson Fellow on the Future of Workers.